Welcome to Preparing for the Unexpected. Today, I want to talk about an article that I came across on mybroadband.co about cybersecurity being a business continuity problem. So today, I want to talk about that with founder of Aenesis Consulting and host of Resilient Journey, and you probably recognize him back for a who knows how many times appearance now,
Hmm.
Mark Hoffman. Mark, welcome back.
Thank you, Alex. Listen, they might not recognize me. I'm kind of sporting the goatee here now. I don't know. We're going to give that a try. I'm not so sure if I'm going to keep it, but I'm not incognito. I'm definitely not in disguise.
Well, I know from experience the goatee thing is pretty good, so it's only
Yeah,
cool people have them.
I'm just trying to be more like you, Alex. That's all.
Oh no, no, please aspire to more. So let's jump in about this article about cybersecurity being a business continuity problem. So my first question is then why do organizations and sometimes leadership as well still see cybersecurity as something separate from all the rest of, crisis management, resilience, business continuity?
I think there's two reasons, and I think they're both pretty interesting. The first one is I think it's a bit of a turf war. And the cyber folks are under that IT umbrella. They want to maintain control of it, and it's just not the appropriate way to go. Uh, I've been through this with organizations where the IT people who are responsible for cyber, for information security, not only want to handle all of the technical response to it, but they also want to have the relationship with the breach coach, the insurance company. They want to handle the communications aspect of it. And look, that's just wrong. I'm not going to mince words anymore, I don't think, on this topic. It's just wrong. I wouldn't go to my IT person to solve a financial matter. Why would I go to my IT person to solve a reputation matter, a communications matter, a legal matter? It just doesn't make sense. But the problem is they have such a strong grip on it that they don't like to give that up. The other answer, and I'm not sure how well people are going to like this, but I think people in the resilience industry are too weak when they approach it. They need to walk into the room with, laid out ideas of what we can do and call it what it is. It's a dual work stream. Let the technicians, those IT guys, the technical guys work on that stuff and let business resilience, crisis management coordinate with things like privacy, legal, communications, and business disruptions. But we need to be stronger. We need to start being stronger, not only in the cyber area, but also just in general, and walk in and grow a set. I think I said that last time I was on your show, and stand up for ourselves and say, no, this is why it needs to be this way.
It's for years, and you've probably heard this too, it's like an us and them, IT and business. And now with cyber come along, we're creating an us and them culture within these sides,
Right.
which only causes more confusion, right?
100%. But this is where our opportunity is. This is our in, if you will, to be the translators between us and them, between IT and the business. And some of that means going back to IT and saying, listen, look, we understand the impact of whatever system has been affected. We understand the impact on the business. And IT might say, yeah, well, we understand who uses our system. That's fine. You might understand who uses the system, but we in resilience should understand how they use it, what the workarounds are, what are the consequences if those functions can't work, and the overall impact to the business. That's stuff we have total access to through the data that we collect in our BIAs that IT is not going to have. So if we can help the business understand workaround capabilities, understand communication dependencies, all of these different things, we have a leg up over the technical side of it. And that's where we introduce ourselves in between, sort of the demilitarized zone between us and them.
So how do we go about doing that then? Because
Well,
I'm assuming we don't wait for a cyber incident to occur for us to step in. So how do we go about getting that, building that bridge between?
so it's going to start with empowerment. We need, first of all, executive support. We need to spend time with the executives, not just the IT executives, but go as high as you can. If you can get CEO support and explain it and explain what we bring to the table is more than just technology. When you allow us to come in, we're going to allow the privacy officer to handle privacy matters. We're going to let the communications people handle the communication things. The subject matter experts are going to do what they do best. And so I think that the way that we do that is to step forward boldly and present it that way, in a way that allows the executives to see a clear path, that it makes sense. It's not just technology. Look at it this way. If the technology team is worrying about messaging to customers and to all of the different stakeholders, that's taking them away from their subject matter expertise.
Mhm.
So these are the stories that we need to be able to tell. And no, you can't figure this out, once the cyber attack has happened. You got a red screen with the skull and the crossbones, not the time to figure it out. You need to be figuring it out on the blue sky day, write your plan, collaborate with the IT people, and the cyber folks, and run some exercises and try it out. Figure it out together.
As Regina Phelps would say, show the value of investment, but also, as you were touching on, speak the language of leadership, which is risk. Here's
Yeah.
what could happen if we don't do this.
One of the other things too that I think is important is that we as resilience people don't cuddle up to those who are adjacent to us. We need to be able to speak all of these different languages, Alex, not only the language of the executives, which is risk. We need to be able to speak to the cyber team and understand when they use certain terms, whether it's what type of an attack this was or attack vectors and different things and things like that. We need to be able to speak to the risk people, to the privacy people, to the communications people. So I feel like too often those of us in our profession just like to stay in our own little bubble. And it might be safe, but it's not effective and it doesn't demonstrate value. So we need to be able to speak the different languages of the people around us.
So that's what we can do on our side. How do we get cyber, IT, DR, privacy in the same room and make that case? Any suggestions? Because I know you and I have touched on that a little bit now and then, but we really haven't dug into that. But how do we really bring all those people together so that everyone hopefully gets that light bulb moment? Bing, I get
Yeah, no, that's right. The easiest way to do it would be to have the executive team mandate it, that this is not just an IT problem, that it's a collaborative effort. That's not always easiest to accomplish, but if you can get that level of support, that air support, that top-down support, that really, really helps. Um, Short of that, what I would do is I would identify the strongest personality of the subject matter experts and collaborate with them and work to make that happen. If that's your communications team, which is often, sort of a marketing person, uh, work with them, collaborate with them so that you're not the only one. Sometimes it feels like we're pushing a square rock uphill, right? Get some help, get that collaboration. If it's privacy, if it's legal, build relationships, go out there, get allies and do those things and push for the collaboration. The other side of it is make sure the teams understand the value you bring to the table. Don't beg for their acceptance. I've seen that too, where people are like, oh, excuse
it.
me, I think I have something that might be helpful. That's not going to work. You're going to get run over. You need to go in boldly and say, listen, I can help here and explain why and lay it out and be effective that way.
I like how you just explained that by approaching communications or privacy or legal personnel. I think a lot of people in our industry think right off the bat they have to get right to that top
Hmm.
person, the CEO. But the way you outlined it is you don't necessarily have to go that route. You can approach someone who's maybe on your same level, let's say, job wise,
Yeah.
and create a network there that when that relationship is created actually does move you up closer to where you want to get to.
It's funny. I was just talking to somebody yesterday about this. Uh, it's been attributed as the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And my problem is, particularly as an independent consultant, I often want to go fast. And it's just easy for me to go, no, I'll write this, I got it. And I turn it and it's done. But this is a perfect example of going far, going together. Build those teams, build those relationships, and you can move it forward.
So would you still say that cyber is a problem for business continuity, as the article title outlines?
So, is it a problem? Well, I mean, it's a problem in this sense. You- When you think about a typical cyber attack, there's no such thing, but when you think about a cyber attack or ransomware attack, something that takes a system or a network down, the end result is a business disruption. I don't care how you look at it. That puts the ball in our court. That right there brings us a seat at the table automatically. And we need to take it. So, yes, cyber events are business continuity events without question.
Well, we've come to the end of the episode. Any final thoughts you'd like to share on this with cyber business continuity or any other area?
It's the same thing with disaster recovery. It could be a non-cyber related system outage. Also, it is a business continuity, a business disruption event. And again, we can't just stay in our bubble. We do have to stay in our lane, but we have to be comfortable with those who are adjacent to us, and we need to build those relationships. You could picture an IT person saying, "Disaster recovery is not your stuff, Mark. Don't worry about it." Okay, it's not my stuff, but it affects my stuff. So, work to build those relationships, work to collaborate, and get those things done, and be assertive.
It's like the a business impact assessment where you have to understand all the dependencies. Well, here, if there's a cyber attack or any other incident, we have to understand the roles and responsibilities and how all these different teams depend on each other, how they interact and need each other to be successful.
Yeah, I know we're out of time, but I want to follow up on something you just
Yep.
said there. If we're doing a business impact analysis and we're identifying all of this stuff, we need to pay attention to the data that we're collecting and we need to use that data. So to understand dependencies, some of those are systems or people or locations or third parties or whatever it turns out to be. That information matters. And we need to become almost data scientists and understand what that data means. This system right here, oh, look at that. It's used by two-thirds of the business. Okay, that's good information. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Again, used for what? How important is it to do these critical functions? Is it integral that they have to have it or else those things are down? Is it just nice to have? Okay, it's maybe misleading your stats. We have to really understand this data. And if we don't, we're doing a disservice to our program, but we're really doing a disservice to the organization that we're working for.
Yeah, I agree. I've always lived by the uh, thought that if I'm asking you a question in the BIA, it's because that answer you're going to give me is going to help create something down the road. It will be used. If it's not going to be used, I don't want to ask the question
Exactly.
because then
Exactly.
it's too much for the participants who are just saying, "Well, what the hell are you going to do with that info?"
That's right. Exactly.
And basically, it's well, nothing. It just looks good on paper.
Right. And that doesn't serve anybody. I
Right.
used to work for a large service organization whose initials I will not share, uh, who their BIA reports was just statistics. We talked to 83, or we talked, X number of departments. We identified 83 business functions, 22% are critical. Okay, that's great. That makes a nice report, and it does absolutely nothing for us.
Yeah.
Get into the analytics of it and really understand that data.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have you back and we'll have another show to talk about that because I know you and I were touching on BIAs and the analysis uh, before we started recording today. So maybe in the future we'll touch on that.
All right, well, let me leave a tease for that then. So, have you ever been first introduced to a project and at the first meeting as you're going in, you're like, I don't really understand what we're trying to do here. But then the more you work on the project and the more you get really into it, you know that project inside and out. If when you look at your BIA data, you're kind of like, I'm not sure I really understand what they're doing there, then you're not getting deep enough into it. You need to
Right.
become integrated with that data and you will be better as a resilience professional. I know we're off topic, but I just wanted to say that.
No, I agree 100%. And we will cover that in a future episode
Sounds
because
good.
I know you and I touch base on how we can actually do that already.
Yep.
So Mark, always great chatting with you. Thank you for coming back. And hopefully next time it won't be so long.
Hopefully, it won't be so long, and I don't know if I'll have to go tea or not. We'll have to find out. Stay tuned.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.